Hello, FIBO friends and family. Welcome to our webinar. Are you really ready to go back to normal? My name is Bob McFarland, and I'm part of the management team for FIBO USA, and I am honored to moderate today's webinar because we have two very dynamic motivational speakers with us today. But first, a few housekeeping notes. I want to let you know that we are recording today's webinar and we will reshare it tomorrow. Secondly, if you're having difficulty hearing us today and you're using your computer, just make sure that your speaker volume is up. And if you're still having trouble, just message us through the chat box. It's on the right-hand side. That is the same box that you can use to ask questions throughout the webinar. And now I want to introduce our speakers. First up, Jose Flores is a CEO and founder of Indispensable Now. He is a mindset disruptor, dynamic international motivational speaker, and author. Jose speaks all over the world using his unique story of growing up with a physical disability and how you could use your mind to overcome anything. His main message is to never allow your struggle to become your standard and how to dominate your life and business. Welcome, Jose.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to hang out with you and the FIBO audience, man. That's awesome.
Amen. We're happy to have you. And now for our second speaker, inspirational life changer, TEDx speaker. You might have seen him on the Steve Harvey show. He's a celebrity trainer. He's a TV host. He's an author. He survived cancer, not once, but twice. Woo. David Octavio Gandell found his purpose through his multiple battles with cancer. How many sessions of chemotherapy did you have, David?
I did 7 rounds of chemo, a total of 98 chemotherapies, 14 chemos per round.
98 sessions is what I'm counting. Unbelievable. As a breakthrough coach, he has inspired many to start living today and realize the best time to start fulfilling your purpose is now. His message, finding hope, having faith, and living with purpose has changed the lives of many around the world. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Bob. It's absolutely a dream to be part of FIBO's vision in any way. But more importantly, I was really excited to meet you last year in Miami, to be able to meet all the sponsors and the amazing trainers and celebrities that were there. And when you asked me if I could do this, I was so honored because this was something I thought about, but I never really thought was going to happen. And I hope that everyone today that tunes in understands that FIBO is so much more than what people actually think or imagine. What you guys are doing around the world. And I'm just blessed to be part of it here in Miami Beach.
Thank you, David. It's very nice of you. Today, our topic is, are you ready to go back to the normal? And I think it's the perfect topic because when we talk to our clients, when we talk to our exhibitors, our attendees, you know, we got a mixed message. Some are very excited to get back to the gym, get on the airplanes, come to events like FIBO. But others, you know, are a little bit, they have anxiety. And then on top of it, you know, there's challenges, right? There's people, they have challenges right now, maybe with their health or with a loved one. It could be with their business, and it's not always negative. Sometimes, you know, through this pandemic, there are entrepreneurs that we talk to that say, you know, I'm really going to go for it. This is a good timing for me to, you know, acquire and invest. So with your backgrounds and your stories, you guys are known for breakthrough coaching and mindset disrupting. How can you help our audience get through this pandemic? Who wants to go first?
I'm gonna greet Jose first. He's my brother. I want Jose to go first and share with us.
Yeah, so for me, a lot of people to just jump right in, and practically one of the ways that people can get, through this pandemic and get through this crisis is by asking yourself, what type of attitude are you carrying? What type of attitude have you been carrying? And what type of attitude do you want to carry outside, making it through this pandemic and getting to the other side? Because we've all heard it said that our attitude determines our altitude, right? So how high you want to go. So if you want to be flying with the eagles or kind of hanging around with the pigeons, it's all up to you, and it's based on your attitude. Your attitude is going to determine what flock you get to hang out with, right? And so
Altitude and altitude determines your altitude. Where
That's
you're going
right.
to find the eagles. I want to be with the eagles.
that's right. That's right. Everybody always wants to fly with the eagles, right? But the reality is that not everybody can handle the pressure, right? Not everybody can get that high and be able to handle that atmosphere. But you can get there through developing that proper, that proper attitude and that proper mindset. For me, being born with a condition that had me in a wheelchair at the age of 22, it's called spinal muscular atrophy. What that does is the older I get, the weaker my muscles get. And I know that a lot of your viewers are into, gaining muscle, developing muscle, strengthening muscle. And that's amazing, right? Because our muscles is what allows us to move around when we want to move around. And there's a lot of people that take that for granted, right? And I never, and I'm not judging anyone because I used to do it too, right? But until I couldn't do it anymore. Now I would give anything and everything to be able to just, lift my arms up above my head and hug my wife, or throw a football around with my kids, or baseball, or just chase my kids around and play wrestle with them. And I can't do those type of things, right? But for so many years in my life, I was stuck with the I can't mentality. That kept me stuck for so many years. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't walk. I can't run. I can't lift my arms. I can't. And it wasn't until I actually said to myself, all right, Jose, well, enough with the pity party. You can't do all these things. Well, what can you do? I had to ask myself that hard question, right? What can you do? And I said, okay, well, I can use my voice, and I still have a sound mind, educated, intelligent, and I can combine those two and make powerful things happen. And it wasn't until I made that choice and the decision to use those two components that allowed me to change my life around completely and really start living my dreams and living my life to the fullest. And so if you want to get out of this pandemic, you're going to have to ask yourself those hard questions, those questions that that you need to ask yourself, and be real with yourself. You have the answers deep down within inside yourself. Maybe you have them tucked behind your head. Maybe you filed them in a compartment that says do not open, because that's going to bring maybe some type of, it's gonna cause you to face reality, right? It's gonna cause you to maybe think about some experiences or some past traumas or hurts that you may have gone through. But in order for you to really get past it, you have to ask yourself those hard questions. Because like I said, there's gonna be two types of people that emerge from this coronavirus crisis. You're gonna have the one type of person that's on fire, motivated, energized, encouraged, ready to go at it full force, because they've been taking courses, they've been attending webinars such as this, they've been taking classes, they've been learning a new skill set, maybe on YouTube or Google, and they're excited because they have a new skill and they have a new passion and a new fire that's going to catapult them out of this situation. Or you're going to have that other person that's ready to go back to their normal, right? And the reality is that normal for a lot of people is mediocrity. Normal for a lot of people is average. So you have to ask yourself, what was the normal that you had before? And what's the normal that you have now? Because everyone has a new normal at this point. And what's the normal that you want to see happen, or you want to have take place once we get past this storm, this pandemic, right? Because normal can look a lot of different ways to a lot of people. People see me in my wheelchair, and to them, I don't look normal. But to people like you, Bob, and David, you guys look at me and you're like, man, you're amazing. You're such a motivator. You encourage me. You inspire me. And so there's nothing abnormal about me, because, again, birds of a feather flock together. So when you get around that right environment, you get around the people that have the same like-mindedness, and they have maybe similar goals and ambitions and dreams that you do, that's going to help you you know, almost kind of locking arms with those type of people and moving forward and asking them questions. And, you know, I always say this, I'm okay with not flying with the eagles as long as I can hang around the goats. And that means the greatest of all times.
All time.
All those goats that are out
Greatest
there,
of all
I don't
time.
mind flying with the eagles as long as I can hang around the goats. So find that group of people that encourage you, that inspire you, that motivate you. Maybe it's fitness and bodybuilding like FIBO. Get around that group of people and figure out how you guys can help elevate each other and lift each other up. Or if you're into finances, find out who's very successful in finances and get around those people. Or if you like motivational speaking, then hit up me or David and hang around us and our group of people, right? But there's several things that you can do to get through this pandemic, man. And not just this pandemic, just get through life in general, because life is going to constantly throw curveballs at us. Life is going to constantly happen, good and bad, whether we like it or not. And we just have to be able to develop that mental resilience and that mental toughness. Again, not only, you know, not only is physical fitness important, but mental fitness and mental toughness and mental strength and mental stability and mental resilience is just as important as physical fitness. So I'll leave that there, and I'll give David a chance to jump in and give his 2 cents. And then we'll continue the conversation.
David, you have to admit, that's a very hard act to follow, but.
No, but I was going to say ditto and just keep going, right? I'm just going to go agree with him. No, you know, I certainly agree with everything he said. And, you know, it takes me back to when people always ask, you know, hey, David, when are we going back to normal? I've been asked that question my whole life because I was a consultant at a very young age. Right out of college, I started running health clubs, became a regional manager, and I ran over 11 Gold's gyms, and I opened studios all over in South Florida. So I used to be asked that question from members and from people, hey, when are we going back to normal? I said, normal was bankruptcy. Normal was losing money. Normal was broken equipment. Normal was not enough memberships. So for me, it was like, what normal? I mean, and I've never been normal. Since I was 5 years old, I get to hear my stories from my uncle and my aunts telling me how I used to just disrupt the party because I wanted people to look at me on top of a crystal table at 5 years old. So I've never been normal. But what I did figure out later on in life is when I was 29 years old and I get a doctor to tell me I have terminal cancer and I black out. For the first time in my life, I find out I'm not invincible. And at that moment, it changed my perspective in life. And it took me 2 years to get this whole thing around my head, which is really just me and God connecting, for me to battle for my life just 2 years later. And I was a person that was modeling, that was running gyms, that was training, shredded, 6 feet tall, long hair, and all that was gone because of one diagnosis. And all of a sudden, my life changed. And I realized that all these gifts and talents that I've had for all my life, which one of them is the fact that I'm bold and I'm always able to speak at any moment. You give me a microphone and I'm on. And that was a gift. But now it was going to be used for something else. Now it was, okay, now I survived cancer. Now I made a promise. And now all these gifts and talents are going to be used for something else. It took 2 years of my life to define myself, to figure out what is it about me that is so special, because I do believe that we're all special. I do believe we all have a purpose, and I do believe we have a meaning. There's a message that each and every one of us, everyone listening to this video or webinars, all of us in this world, we have something to give back to this world. You have some skill, some talent, something. You could be a J-Lo, you could be a Derek Jeter, you could be a Michael Jordan, you could be anyone, you could be Mr. Olympia, you could be whoever you want, but you have a message for this world. What I do believe is what Jose just said. We're all just trying to live a normal life. And normal life, unfortunately, is mediocrity, meaning that you're okay with the status quo. You're okay with just living and existing. I've never been okay because I was always about challenges. I've listened to this, I don't know if you've listened to it, but the Michael Jordan documentary, and it brought back so many memories. But I listened to someone that never lost a championship. And we look up to someone like Jose said, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. But until you realize what that person went through to get there, you can never compare yourself to them because you got to literally find out what they went through. If you really want to get to know me and find out why David is crazy. Get to know my testimony, get to know my story, so you see the sacrifice and the suffering it took to get here. Get to know Jose's story. Get to know the person's story before we judge or before we start talking about them. But what I would say to you right now is this is the perfect time to get to know you. Get to know your own personal story that you forgot about. Get to know everything that you went through in life. I promise you there is a reason. There is a reason why I went through cancer. There is an exact purpose for me going through cancer, not once, but twice, to be able to live my dreams now. There's a purpose even for Jose to be in a wheelchair today. There's a purpose because he has done so much more in over a decade than he would have done if he just had legs and feet and he was normal. He has taken his meaning personally and he's sharing it with the world sacrificially, because it takes a lot to do what we do. I've never said that I'm perfect, and I've never said that I don't have pain. There's a lot of things that I go through just to work out. I even shared this with Bob when we first talked a year ago. I suffer from neuropathy. I have one kidney left. My surgery was 12 hours. There's so much about my body that I'll probably never get to understand anymore. But I am so blessed that I had this something inside of me that said, David, get up, lift, go work out. And I found that everything I had learned as a trainer, now you got to do it for me. And I built myself back up. And at that moment, I realized, listen, it can be done. Is it going to be painless? No, absolutely not. Is it going to take sacrifice? Yes. Are you going to suffer through it? Yes. But I will promise you this, if you can make the choices now and understand that the suffering is under your control and not under the world's control, because the world's going to continue to change and evolve. Are you willing to change and evolve? This is the time, just like Jose just said, you need to look inside yourself. Find out who the heck you are. Find out everything about you that you put behind you, because there's a message there. And that message is going to lead to purpose. And it's going to invite you to meet so many new people in your life. I am not who I am without people in my life. I promise you there's somebody right now you probably need to call, somebody you need to reach out to. And I promise you just to start looking out and don't look at the status quo. Don't go back to normal. Look at the dreams and see if you can lift them up and just take that plane, be like an eagle and just start flying, because the pigeons can only go so high. And I promise you, but dreaming is one thing. Don't dream your life, live your dreams. That's one of my messages. And with that, I think, Bob, back to you, sir.
Don't dream your life, live your dreams.
Yes.
That's a good one. So, Jose, what would you say? I got some questions coming in, and, some of the questions, like, what would you say to someone that may be hesitant of, they love to work out, but right now, maybe there's a parent or someone influencing them saying, you don't want to go to the gym, it's a dirty environment, or I don't want you to get sick. They have, like, I don't want to say it's a negative influence, but it's a different type of energy coming at them. What would you say to those people that are having other people influencing their decisions?
I would just say that, you just have to check what the influence is, who the influence is, and if what they're saying is accurate, right? Because as grown-ups, as adults, there's a lot of information circulating in the media, social media, TV, radio. But I would just encourage you to do your own research. Do your own research and just be smart about it. Because listen, guys, the reality is that the moment you step foot out of your door, the world is a dirty place. The world is a dirty place. So if you don't ever want to get dirty, then that means you're going to be quarantined for the rest of your life. Because the moment you step outside your door, this world is a dirty place. But you just have to be smart about it. Take the proper precautions. Me personally, and I don't want to get into the whole what you should and shouldn't do, but just me personally, I feel that as long as you take the proper measurements and precautions to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to keep yourself safe and other people safe, then you shouldn't be afraid to go outside of your house. That's just my own personal opinion. So if you're having an influence that's telling you, don't go out, don't do this, don't do that. Again, when people are saying that, that's a spirit of fear. And you don't want to live in a spirit of fear, right? Because fear just holds you back. Fear keeps you stuck. Fear
It's a
prevents you.
drag.
Say that again?
It's a drag. It just drags you.
It's a drag. Yeah, it holds you down. It holds you back. It keeps you stuck. It paralyzes you. It keeps you stagnant. You know, and we know what stagnant water does, right? It gets infectious and full of bacteria and bugs and all of that. So you got to keep moving. You got to get out, right? So,
Right.
just, you know, be courageous, be bold, but most importantly, be smart with what you're doing. I mean, I've been going out. I still wear my mask, right? Because I want to be careful. And I have my hand sanitizer, my alcohol spray with me when I'm going places. But the reality is, guys, you know, whether you go to the gym, you go to Publix, that's my supermarket down where I live at in Florida. But if you go to the supermarket, you go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go to any public restroom, you're going to be touching things, right? You're going to, you know, for the most part, you're going to be touching the handle or doing something, pushing the door open or whatever the case may be. Just be smart about it, guys. Be smart about it. Take the proper precautions and don't be afraid to live your life to the fullest. That's my main point that I'm trying to make. Don't let fear stop you from living your fullest life now.
Amen.
Very strong message. So David, I could tell you, I don't have this question coming in, but this is what I've heard from our FIBO audience, is that, you know, a lot of these personal trainers right now, their new norm is that, you know, they've been out of work. Some of these group instructors have been out of work, and some of the people that own gyms have been, you know, their memberships are on freeze, or they've had people that inquired about canceling. What would you say to these three groups to kind of motivate them, to get them, you know, because you're a breakthrough coach, right? So
I was a consultant, yeah.
Yeah, and going back to your consultant days with gyms, like what would you do? What would you say to them?
Well, the biggest, I think that let me tackle the owners first. You look at Gold's Gym, just filed in bankruptcy, Chapter 11. It shows you the magnitude when you look at you know, one of the big kings in the industry. You know, they're going to reconstruct. You know, basically all they're going to do is postpone their payments with their creditors, and that's why they filed Chapter 11. But so when you look at those giants do that, then you look at your mom and pops gyms, which is what are pretty much franchisees or other people. You know, the one thing that I was always grateful about is that from the beginning, I started building profit centers around the gym. So the membership wouldn't be the only thing that would come in. Then I worked out different plans for personal training and aerobics and paid classes and pro shops and different ways of profit centers. We have a big profit center right now that you're not looking at. One of my friends, and I'm not going to call his gym, but I'm going to call his name is Tyrone, who used to work with me in Tampa. His gym is now turned into a virtual gym. He basically did what a lot of people I think need to go into until this thing is safe for people to go back to lifting weights. He turned his gym into this warehouse where now he's doing virtual classes. He's charging people a little bit less money, but he's getting a huge people to the point that the news called him up and said, how are you getting 100, 200 people in one class online to do your class? Who are you? So again, because he did this with me back in Tampa, where we have these profit centers, we have different things. So he just said, okay, I'm going to focus on what I can make money now. He throws everybody's membership, and I'm going to ask my audience what they're willing to pay, and I'm going to break out different plans for them. So for gym owners, if you do have an aerobic space or you have some big space like that, I think that that's the way to go right now. Hire the instructor, bring him into the gym, make sure they have to mask, clean everything, make sure everything is safe, and just one person teach the class with music, and get people to log into your site, and you can charge. That's the only way right now besides the government and finding out the loans that you can get through the government. So for gym owners, there's not a lot of options right now except those, because you really can't go into the community to do marketing. When it comes to personal trainers, same thing with the personal trainers. You've got to look at all these apps. There's a few apps right now that are specifically very good. I'm not here to promote them, so I'm not going to say you the names, but there's plenty of apps that are working where you can, as a trainer, send them and say, listen, come work out with me, instead of going on Instagram and giving it out for free. Now you can give something for free so people get to know you. So that's a marketing tool. But then you got to sign them up to your site. And here's the thing, charge $5, $10, whatever. You have a global thing. What FIBO is, this is why I love doing this with you, Bob, is because FIBO is global. You got billions of people, and then the statistics are somewhere between 70, 80% of the people do not work out. So guess what? You have billions of people you can reach out to. Figure out the apps that are good for you. Figure out the workouts that you can do, that you believe in yourself, that you can push out until you can go back to the gym. Because right now there's no safety in numbers, right? So it's all isolated. Now, I do know some trainers that are doing some backyard stuff and some driveway stuff, but that's one-on-one. That's costing you money. You're driving to the home. So think about a lot of those expenses that you really don't want to put into that right now. And for you at home that are thinking about working out, also do your research. Because one thing that I will tell you is that if you got to know how far you can take your workout to, because you can also get injured and you end up in the hospital. Figure out which trainer you can work out with, start looking at their bio, start looking at certifications, start looking at really because you can see somebody do something for an hour, but they've been doing this for a year, I think, Jose, I was sharing with Jose a basketball video that last week I went to play basketball. I haven't touched a basketball in 3 years. Now, it looked good for 2 days, and then I was sore for a week. So the good thing is I did not pull a muscle. I knew when to pull back. I knew that when my mind is, okay, my body's tired, I'm dehydrated, I need to pull back. So I would say right now, make sure nutrition, drink as much water as you can, stay hydrated. Try to get some fresh air, like Jose said, get out, get your mask on, and go out, and try to be active. At least in Miami, we can do that. We can walk around, we can run around. So hopefully that's a good thing for most of the states. I know up north they're getting a cold front or some other things, but I hope that's pretty a good answer for you, Bob.
It is. Thank you for that. I got a FIBO question coming in. They're asking, are we still having FIBO in November? Yes, we are. We are still having FIBO November 6th to the 8th. And one thing that we're really proud of this year is that this year we are all industry professionals. Because of the pandemic, FIBO is going to invest in your career. We are going to provide free fit passes to all personal trainers, all group instructors. We want to stand in solidarity with the industry. We want to support and help rejuvenate the rebound of the industry. What that means is that the instructors, the group instructors, and the personal trainers, you're going to be able to get your CECs and your continuing education units for free, basically, as long as you attend FIBO USA, you'll get your credits, and they should be good. If you take all the classes that we offer, you should be good enough to fulfill all your NASM or your ACE or your AFA accreditations. So we're really proud of that. We're proud to give that back to the industry.
That's awesome.
That's part of what we call FIBO Cares, which you'll hear more about. Where registration will be open very shortly, probably around mid-May, May 15th, and actually another week or so. So it's right around the corner.
Coming soon.
Yes.
That's cool. David and I will be there as well, supporting you.
Yeah,
guys.
I'm excited.
We're excited to have you. Jose, so you're a mind disruptor. Is there any type of advice that you give your clients, or when you're doing your podcast? I won't stop until I win, which is very good, by the way.
Thank you.
I listened to it recently. I painted my daughter's bedroom, and I went through I want to say 5 or 6 episodes straight. So thank you for getting me through, because I hate to paint, but as I listened to your podcast, the painting went by pretty quickly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the reason I named it "I Won't Stop Until I Win" is because there's never going to be a point in life where we've arrived, right? We're gonna experience wins. Sometimes they're going to be small wins. Sometimes they're going to be big, major wins. But we have to keep on going, because after every win, there's another training that you have to do. There's another more climbing up the mountain you have to do to get to that next win. There's always going to be a win. After every win, there's another win. The only time you stop winning is when you stop breathing. Right? And so the reason I wrote I won't stop, I started I won't stop until I win, is because I wanted to give people a place where they can come and get inspired and hear all the amazing stories of people that I have on the show that have really been through some hardships, that have really faced some difficulties, some obstacles, some adversity, some challenges, and they've gotten through it. And the common theme around how they've gotten through it was there was a changing in their mind. It all started here. It starts here. Everything in life starts here. It starts with a thought. Every thought becomes an action. So if you're thinking the wrong things are going to happen. If you're thinking the right things, then the right things are going to happen, or it'll at least lead you into the right direction, right? And so for me, I won't stop until I win just means that no matter what happens in life, right? Even we're all going through this pandemic, it's crazy. Everybody says this is a first for all of us, right? In history. Well, for us anyhow, where the whole world is shut down. And so, but it's going to pass. So we can't stop until we win, right? People have lost jobs. Hours have been cut short. Companies are closing. David said huge kings in the industry, in certain industries, are going bankrupt. I heard Norwegian may be going bankrupt soon. You have these big conglomerate companies that are going bankrupt, but they already know that even though they're going through this, they already know that there's something else on the other side. There's light on the other side. So this may be considered a failure to many people in different areas, but just know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You know why? Because you can be that light at the end of the tunnel. You can make that light shine. That little song, I love it. It sounds so crazy sometimes, but this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, right? I mean, we've all heard that song, but when you really think about it, we all carry a light inside of us. Sometimes life will duff it out, snuff it out, turn it off, right? Things in life experiences that we go through make the light go off. But if we can just find that little light again that's inside of us, find where that light is, hit the light switch on, make a mindset shift, make a decision, make a choice, change your attitude, make a small pivot, and let that light shine, you can be the light that's at the end of that dark tunnel. And then once that light is on, I'm telling you, all you got to do is create that spark, fan the flame until that thing turns into a blaze. And you'll keep on going, and life will start to turn around for you. I promise you. I can guarantee you that if you change the way you're thinking and you change just some small habits, sometimes people think like, oh man, in order for me to get over that mountain, I have to take large strides. That's not how it works. It's little consistent things every single day that's going to get you up the mountain and over the mountain. And so if you can incorporate that in your life, it's just small steps along the way, small steps. They lead to big breakthroughs, like David likes to say. Small steps lead to big breakthroughs. So whatever you're going through now, maybe you lost a job, maybe you lost a family member, maybe you have a company that's closing down, maybe you had to let some employees go, whatever that looks like, maybe you have a sickness or an ailment or whatever that is, just know that you can't stop until you win, because people are counting on you. Listen, once I realized that I was actually worth something, because when I was going through my whole situation and me losing my ability to walk and ending up in a wheelchair, and even to this day, there's things that happen sometimes where I'm like, oh God, please, not this again. But
Jose, remind us when this started again for you.
well, I was born with it, and it started actually to take its toll on my body in high school around the 11th, 12th grade. And then by the age I was 22, I ended up in a wheelchair. The doctor said that they were expecting me to, they said that I was going to be in a wheelchair by the age of 15, and they weren't even expecting me to live past my teenage years. So I didn't end up in a wheelchair until I was 22. And this year I turned 43. I know I look good. Thank you. Don't be fooled by the baby face. But you know, and the reason why I'm still here is because I never stopped. I never quit. I kept moving forward. And some days when I felt like I couldn't go forward, you know, my mind was like, you got to keep going. You got to, even though my body was telling me, and it was literally saying, you can't move, you can't go anywhere. My mind kept on telling me, you got to keep going. You got to try.
Yeah.
You got to keep pushing forward. And same thing for David, you know, when his body was shutting down, you know, and giving up on him, in his mind, he knew he couldn't give up on himself. In my mind, I knew I couldn't give up on myself. And for anybody listening or watching this, you got to know that you can't give up on yourself, because there's people that are counting on you. You have spouses and children and loved ones and parents and siblings and aunts and uncles and maybe neighbors or coworkers or associates or colleagues that are counting on you to show up for life. And I remember one of my mentors, Bob, and I'll end with this and I'll give David a moment to go ahead and continue. But I remember one of my mentors said, every day that you don't show up for life, every day that you don't put a piece of content out there or you don't do a video, you're being selfish and arrogant. And I said, wow, that clicked for me, right? Because I'm like, man, there's people that are waiting for me to show up for life and put a motivational post up or do a video or get on a webinar with two awesome dudes and speak to the people to motivate them, right? If I wouldn't have woken up today and gotten on this and made up an excuse and said, hey, Bob, listen, you know, my ankles are swollen and they're pumping and they're hurt, I can't make it today. I'd have been letting you down, Bob. I would have been letting David down. I'd have been letting the whole staff and team that set this up and everybody that's listening and watching, I'd have been letting them down. And that doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't sit well with me. So that's why every day I show up for life and I'm excited and fired up and pumped up, man. So I appreciate everyone that's on this webinar listening and watching. And I hope that something that David or I or Bob says just is that spark that's going to let you continue to fan that flame in your own life, because there's people that are counting on you.
Amen.
Turn on that light switch.
Let that little light shine, baby. Let that little light shine.
Fan it so it can become a blaze.
Right.
You know, Jose, you know, I love doing anything with you. You know, we've done many interviews and speaking events together. And I gotta, you know, second that. You know, when it comes to the mountain, you know, most people look at a mountain and it's like, you know, I can't climb it, I can't push it, or, you know, it may be taking too long to get around it. But remember that everything about those things, you can either climb a mountain, you can try to push it, or you can walk around it. It takes stamina or strength or some kind of stability. And what's going to happen is it's going to be a preparation. So remember that everything that is challenging your life, any mountain that's in your life, is going to be a preparation for something. And
Okay.
and I think the hardest thing for me at one point, not the hardest, but one of the hardest things was my regional manager, when I was going through chemo and cancer, came to my apartment and said to me, why are you worried about the gym? And I said, well, what's my job? He said, it's not your job right now. You're not working. You're in bed trying to survive. And he had to light something up inside of me. It's like, okay, I need to take care of me. I cannot take care of anyone else until I take care of me. And I'm a giver. So I've always been that person that gives. And for the first time, I had to say, okay, now it's time for me to just receive and fill myself up to be able to help other people. So if you feel that you can't help anyone else right now, it's okay. But acknowledge that and take care of yourself first. You know, try to be active. Active could be doing jumping jacks, doing push-ups, doing whatever. Just be active. Try to eat the best you can. And then take care of yourself until you feel okay to help other people. Because if you're trying to help other people without yourself, you're going to get even more overwhelmed through this season of your life. I would also say that, you know, I'm that first person. If you ever heard me speak, I would say that one thing. If I show up, God shows off. So like Jose said, he's showing up every day. I have seen miracles every time I show up. I have seen people come to me and say, David, I can't believe that I wasn't coming to this, or I can't believe that I wasn't going to listen to you, or I can't believe that I showed up to this thing and this miracle came out of nowhere, or this breakthrough came out of somewhere. And I never take credit for it. I always say, God is using me. I'm just a vessel. But I would say that if you, like Jose said, you got to show up to win. And the reason I said what earlier, Bob, and I made this whole conference that I did all year, which maybe I can even bring it to people one day, is don't dream your life, live your dreams. Because every dream I had, I always believed God would never put a dream inside of you if it's not meant to happen. Why do you think that Walt Disney has this imagination and he gets fired and here he comes? Why would you think that someone else believes that he could do something and he finally does it? Now, it's not easy. That's why I always say, learn their stories. Through their stories, you get hope. You find hope. My message is find hope, have faith, live with purpose. You find hope through someone's story, someone that you can relate to. So hopefully you can relate to me, you can relate to Bob, you can relate to Jose, you can relate to any of these people. Same with the trainer. But here's the thing, if there's a dream inside of you, the only one that cannot achieve it, listen to what I said, the only one that cannot achieve it is you. Because you're the one that has control over it. So if you decide that you're going to believe in that dream, whatever it is, even now when you're going through this, start thinking about all the dreams that you had in the past and start actually just putting work into it. Organize it. Organize the story. Organize the dream. See how it can come through. And do your part by believing in it. That's number one. And then go for it. See what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Now, like Jose says, you got to keep going. Why? Because it might be a preparation. But here's the thing. The reason you got to be prepared is so you can stand on top of that mountain and not fall. Because if you're not prepared, you will fall. And the fall is usually a long one and a fast one and a hard one. And then to get back up is going to be even more difficult. So preparation is not a bad thing. Dreaming is not a bad thing. But make the decision to attach that belief, that faith into that dream and go for it. Because in my side of the room, when I go see people that are dying of cancer or going through a bad challenge, and they're like, David, can you pray for me? Can you do something for me? Here's the thing. The biggest thing that I hear is regret. I never got to do this. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I will never say that. The day I die, I will promise you, and if you're around me just for a minute, you're going to think I'm crazy. But this is the thing. I'm living a bonus life. I've been 13 years past what I was supposed to live. So if you're told any time in your life that you're going to die and you live 13 years, guess what? You're going to think just like me. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to live until whenever. And whenever I'm done, that's okay, because I want to live all my dreams as long as I can, for as long as I can, with that belief that I can. That's the thing. I can and I will. And going back to what Jose said earlier also, why are you letting anyone in your life that doesn't support you, that doesn't invest in you, to take control of your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings? Why would you let anyone take control of your life if they have not invested, supported, or believed in you? You have to believe in yourself first. If you don't, no one else is going to for you. And no one's going to believe in your dreams either, because they're your dreams. They're nobody else's. So I hope that you understand that this message is directly right at you. Man, we're in your kitchen right now. We're cooking. So what are your ingredients? What are you bringing to the table to make this meal? And we and again, listen, it's up to you. You have it all. I promise you. Just don't give up. That's my message.
Don't give up. My grandmother used to say, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good becomes your better and your better becomes your best.
Best.
You tell us that. Like anytime we wanted to give up, anytime like you needed to persevere, it could be like, usually for me it was around studying for like a test or an exam. She would say that, and it worked on me.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again?
She would say, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good becomes your better and your better becomes your best.
I like that.
I love that. Yes, I heard it before. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure she stole it somewhere.
Well, or maybe somebody stole it from her. You didn't know. Maybe she was.
It was always a good, motivator. I think, the fact that if you look at what you guys have gone through, this is a serious challenge for sure, but I feel like you've been trained, you've gone through, the rigor that you've already gone through has prepared both of you for pandemics like this. So your mindset is different, and I appreciate that you came and you spoke and talked about your mindset and your energy and how you think, because I think ultimately like, you told me a long time ago, both of you actually say this on your podcasts, on your shows. When I listen, you say, as long as we help like just one person, if one person gets like one nugget, then this was, this webinar was worth having. If
That's
we
right.
one person to get on an airplane that was scared at one point, or one person to show up to an event like a FIBO, or one person to go back to the gym based on, understanding, it's really a mindset. And like you say, you're a mindset, you're a mind disruptor, you're a breakthrough coach. It's all about, how you think. Of course, you're going to take the right precautions.
Absolutely.
But a lot of this is mental, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of it starts in your mind. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Everything in life starts and begins in the mind. I think it's about 80% mindset, 10% operational.
Mm-hmm. Implementation is very important, but if you're in a bad mood, you're not going to be implementing good things. So,
right. The government, listen, the government sent out all these stimulus checks and everybody was like so excited. and, but I want to let you guys know that you need to stimulate yourselves. You need to be able to yourselves, like, and I mean that like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Like if you want it in life, you got to go after it. I'm a firm believer that we only eat what we kill. And if you don't wake up every day and go after life and attack it and kill what you want, then you're just going to be, living average. And again, if you ask anybody in their right mind if they would prefer being a multimillionaire or billionaire or working a 9 to 5 and being average, which one would they choose? Everyone would pick the more successful one, right? Because we know that, money, my mentor Les Brown, right? He's always saying this. He's like, money isn't everything, but it's right up there with oxygen. Right? And so, we need it to be able to make moves. We need it to be able to help other people. We're blessed to be a blessing. No one in their right mind just gonna want to settle where they are, right? Want to be average, want to just get the crumbs, so to speak. So we are in charge, like David said, we are in charge with the dreams that God has given us, with the ambitions, with our goals. We are in charge of that. We're the ones that can control that. No one else can control that. No one else can make our dreams come true. No one else can execute a goal for us. No one else can establish our ambitions and make them become a reality. It's up to us, and we have to take charge of that. So I think that if anything, if anyone takes anything away from this coronavirus, is that you need to take charge of your life and you need to attack life like never before. Because I know I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm laid off or I'm fired or they say they don't need me. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can in my power to create my own economy, so that in a pandemic like this, like I'm not struggling. Like, yeah, it's hard because I'm a personable person. I like going out. I like meeting people. So I can't really do that now. So, before this whole thing happened, I was already working from home. When I wasn't traveling, I'm working from home creating. And so now that we're stuck at home all the time and we can't travel, we can't meet people, that's the only part that's a little, uncomfortable for me. But again, I know I've learned how to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Correct.
Because I'm not paralyzed. I can still feel and move everything. I have to be in this chair all day long. So I know what it is to be uncomfortable, but I've already learned how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's the only way you're going to make it, guys. You got to push through this.
And remember, Jose, like, the biggest question they have to do is, are they willing to go through the work? Are they willing to put the effort? And again, it goes back to you. Are you willing to put the effort? Someone said to me where, there is no such thing as a self-made person. I said, absolutely not. But here's the thing. If you're not walking in the right direction, you're never going to meet the person that might give you the break. If you're not practicing your speaking and you finally get an opportunity to speak, in other words, your dream can't come true. Luck is preparation means opportunity. So, and for you trainers out there, everyone that's an aerobic instructor or a trainer or a coach or someone that's listening to us here from FIBO, I would tell you this, what is it right now, in other words, have you hit the restart button to go into the new normal, not the back normal, but the new normal. Let's go towards the new normal. What's going to be your new normal 3 months from now, 6 months from now? Because here's the thing, we have FIBO. I have 3 more fitness shows that I'm hosting and producing this year, and I'm praying that they're going to happen. But here's the thing, we're going to do everything possible to make sure everybody's safe. So it's not like we're not going to do anything without being safe. We're going to make sure we do that. Hopefully we have the opportunity to do that. But by November, my prayer is that we're not only prepared, but we're ahead of the curve to the point that people can socialize again, that people can take a class with 50 people, that people can go to a gym and work out and not have to be, wearing a mask or something like that. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but why are we worried about tomorrow when today is right here? So what are you doing today to prepare for tomorrow? But don't think about tomorrow like it's the end of the world, because here's the thing. If it's the end of the world, what do you got to worry about? You know what I'm saying? If the world is tomorrow, what are you worried about? So why not enjoy today? I used to tell this, people used to ask me all the time, David, you don't worry about anything. What do I have to worry about? I'm living a bonus life. It's like playing a video game. I got another life to live. You think I'm going to lose this one? No. I'm going to play this one to the fullest. Why? Because I don't know how many more I have. I'm not a cat. I don't have 9 lives. I've already gone through cancer twice, and I've survived 98 chemotherapies, but I don't want to go through anything like this again. I'm going to try to do everything that I can to prepare myself healthy, spiritually, physically, and mentally to do that. But when it comes to FIBO, I think that the biggest thing for me that I took last year, that's one of the main reasons, Bob, that I'm honored to do this with you, and I will do this with you anytime, is the fact that, it's about education. And we have this time right now to educate ourselves. Right now, there is no distractions. What are you worried about? There's nothing. Take this time to educate yourself. Take this time to find out what is it that you want to do with the rest of your life. This is a perfect time to focus on you. And I'm sorry I'm going to keep going at it, but I think this is a message for somebody today, is you need to focus on you right now. Take this time to educate yourself. Bob said a great thing about FIBO, that is investing in you. So this webinar right now is to share with you, if you're a trainer, you're trying to get certified, you're trying to get your credits and NASM and stuff like that, learn, go to FIBO, find out what is it that they're doing for you, and get educated on that, because this right now could be a perfect time for you to start a new future. And but I think you need to focus on you.
It's a great time to recharge. If you have any for me, I have a bad back and a torn rotator cuff. It was good for me to kind of recharge and spend time with family. I've always had an international type of job where I was always pretty much 40% of the time on an airplane. So it's kind of good to just spend quality time, walking my dog, things like this. So I agree with you. It's a good time to take advantage of investing in yourself, and come back stronger out of this. That's the key, to come back stronger. When you guys were speaking and how your mentality is, I used to, in a former life, I worked in a hospital, and I was in a pre-med program, never actually used my degree, but I have a degree in public health. And there was a great doctor that would talk to the patients, and you could tell they were a little anxious. They just got diagnosed something really, something severe, and you could tell that their mentality was changing. They changed their lifestyle. They weren't doing the things they like, golf and stuff. And he would always say this. He would say, and I always remembered this. He said, "Are you going to be a patient, or are you going to be a person? That's your decision." And I think a lot of your messages are similar to what this doctor, he was a young doctor that I really respected. He always said that, it's the type of guy, you ever meet these guys that always say the right things all the time? He was that.
It drives you crazy.
I'm sorry?
It drives you crazy. It's almost like they're perfect all the time. I get it.
Yeah. He was great. And he just said, hey, he'd have the patients leaving. He'd say, "Listen, I have a question for you." Are you going to be a patient or a person? And you can see it got people thinking, you know. So that's pretty much all what we have as far as time goes today. I want to thank our speakers. Time went by fast. We could have kept going, right?
Oh, this is awesome. This is a great platform. Thank you for inviting us.
And you're having fun.
Jose, thanks so much. Jose, you want to plug your podcast? Where can we, or your website? Where can we people reach you?
Yeah, if you can reach me at my website, everything is there. It's www.joseinspires.com, www.joseinspires.com. And the podcast is called I Won't Stop Until I Win with Jose Flores. It's on every podcast platform, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you can find it. And all my social media is at Jose Inspires.
Jose Inspires. I won't stop until I win. And I will add, I felt like your podcast is very much for corporate and entrepreneurs. I feel like if you're in a corporate life or an entrepreneur, you'd really enjoy it. And David, how can we contact you?
Yeah, davidgandell360.com, davidgandell360.com, and you'll see all my social media there and my YouTube channel, and I have the new TV show, Life Changers for Life, right now, which I'm interviewing everybody from celebrities to doctors to trainers, coaches, and they're giving me their mindset right now and giving me words of hope. But yeah, davidgandell360.com, and you can see on my Instagram or Facebook, everything is there. You can contact me, text me, whatever you like, and you can see my testimony there and my interviews, the Steve Harvey interview, and you'll probably see this interview. I'll probably put the link there as well. So yeah, and I would say this, just what you said, Bob, to finish. My doctor, I was never a patient. I actually wore workout clothes to the hospital. I never wore a gown, and I never did a port. I did all the chemotherapies intravenously because I wasn't going in for the long haul. I was going in one day at a time, and I was never a patient.
Once you accept that haul with that port, it changes.
Your mind is different.
Yeah.
And I was very stubborn, but I was in workout clothes. I was wearing tank tops and shorts, and I was in workout clothes every time because for me I was in training. Not the type of training I wanted to do, but I was in training. So I get exactly what you just said. I lived it, and I think that's one of the reasons that I was able to battle it. To battle cancer. Yeah.
Well, thank you, David. There was another question that just came in. It looks like more of an affirmation. I just want to read it for the audience. I really appreciate the accessibility standards to accept all body types to the fitness industry, whether that's different from physical capabilities or mental blocks to get and keep going. Thank you, gents. FIBO reporting in from Miami Beach, host of November's FIBO. Thank you so much for that. It's true. FIBO is for everybody. Doesn't matter what body type, what genre you like. You could like Pilates, you could like bodybuilding. Everyone's invited to a FIBO. FIBO is built on 3 pillars. We have an education, we have a B2B business event, and then we turn it into a festival. So I want to thank everybody that tuned into our webinar, and hope to see you all November 6 to 8, FIBO USA, Miami Beach Convention Center, Miami Beach. And I forgot to tell the audience, you're both from Miami. You're international speakers, but we like to support the locals. So we wanted to bring in 2 Miami people. So
awesome.
thank you for joining.
Absolutely.
Amen. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you.